Hey everybody, hey everybody. Hey everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. Look, it's your girl Shell, Color Beauty. You are live on Overtime at WTTS Radio. I'm so glad you joined me. Listen, I don't even know who's with me yet, but look, I know it's Valentine's Day, so you may be all booed up, and that's okay. As you can see, I'm here with you. So I'm gonna stay booed up with you today. How about that? I just want to say happy Valentine's, everybody. Happy Love Day. I hope you're lovely on your love day because, just because it's one day doesn't mean that it's the same kind of day for everybody. And so I'm hoping that you're having a great love day. And if you don't have that special someone, that you still find it in your heart to be sweet and to be lovely to someone. Somebody needs just a sweet love tone that you may be the one to whisper that to them and make their day. And so someone did that for me today, actually. Believe it or not, I went to lunch earlier and I said, well, I'm not really a fast food person, but I like Chick-fil-A, believe it or not. And I went in and I had just got a little salad or something. And so the manager actually gave me a free lunch today. And before I walked away, I got a little rose. It was beautiful. It was fully bloomed. It was gorgeous. And I said, okay, this is sweet, God. This is really sweet. So that was my Valentine today. Sometimes it's just random. It doesn't have to come from who or that person, but sometimes it can just be random. And so I was pleasantly surprised. Um, and so listen, before we get into our topic today, I want to share a few things. This is my quick commercial with you. I'm having a workshop coming up in March the 18th. Listen, it's called Plethora for Internal and External Success. It's the Evolution Workshop. It is 6 series and it is awesome. I often talk to you about being successful inside and outside. A lot of times we are successful outside and we are having these major 9/11s inside. And then sometimes we are successful inside and outside looks like a major 9/11. So it can be vice versa all the time. But the key is to get it balanced where inside looks like outside and they all both are harmonizing. And so in the workshop, we really do some digging. Believe it or not, I'm never surprised by the people that come to the workshop because you can look at someone and think that they have it all together and they are the ones that need it the most. And so I love it because it allows me the opportunity to pour and to really share. But more importantly, it allows those who attend to really look and really own and dig into themselves and figure out where are the hindrances and so where are the hindrances. And so I love the topics. One of the topics is what do you really want? My favorite topic that I talk about is your complexity and how it works for you. And so we really dig into to things pretty deep. I share a little bit of my life and how God has been telling a beautiful story. And listen, I'm not finished yet. I don't want you to be deceived by no means that I have it all together because I don't. But I'm just a girl who decided not to be afraid to live and to keep getting up. I saw one of the clips that Denzel Washington said the other night. It was awesome. He said, you fall down 7 times and you get up 8. And he said, this was very powerful. He said, ease can almost it's almost our enemy. Ease can be our enemy. So sometimes we need the element of struggle to make us move and to push us. And so I talk about how all that works for our good. And so I know sometimes you say, oh, I got that. But sometimes it takes another person to unlock something in you that's been sitting there. A lot of times as adults, especially, we are walking around with secrets and things that have been sitting in our lives for years, or things that we try to put away and forget about, that are really manifesting and showing up in other ways. And so the workshop is again, it's going to be March the 18th. Listen, it's limited seating because it is an intimate workshop. Some things that we talk about, some topics, a whole big for this Coliseum kind of scene is not for that, but it does allow people to be able to really relax and deal with their truth and deal with themselves and see where they want to go and create a plan for themselves. And so I like the fact that God gave it to me to do in 6 series, because sometimes we do these workshops and you can go to a workshop over on a weekend and stay there 2 or 3 days, and you come home on Monday and you're overloaded. And so now you have to unload, and that becomes overwhelming in itself. But this workshop allows you to play it out every month to see where am I different from last month. And even when you get to the end of the 6th series, you may find that you're not where you want to be, but you will see after then it starts to manifest and starts to play out. And I've had quite a few attendees say to me that they saw the manifestation play out after they had attended. And so I hope to see you there. For registration, go to www.colorbeauty.com/blog. And so, I'm sorry, www.colorbeauty.com/blog. And when you go in, just tap in, you get the information. And so I hope to see you there. I'm really excited about it. So, come on out and join me. I think it'll be a blessing to your life. So let's talk about Valentine's Day. So I heard something right before I came on that was really good. Someone was asking, the question today was, have you ever had a bad Valentine's Day? And I was like, no, I have not. But then there was someone else that was present that said, yes, they had. And I was like, okay, well, what's the worst they could say? And so come to find out, it was pretty bad. So young lady was, for Valentine's Day, she got 2 dozen roses from my husband, and she was really excited about it. She got home and just really excited. So she got home, she was on the phone talking to one of her girlfriends, and as she was talking, the phone beeped in, and it was the other woman who had called and just poured out how she had been with her husband, with this woman's husband, for a long time, and that she was upset because on this particular Valentine's Day she was not going to be with him. And so as she was sharing the story with the young lady, the husband walks in and she says, oh, well, he's here now, hold on. And so you can only imagine how that went. So, I want to say a few things about that. First of all, I feel some kind of way about that. Now, here's what happens. The word of God says there's nothing like a woman that's scorned, and that's very true. But this is my whole take on that. If you already know what you're dealing with, when you're in a situation that doesn't belong to you, but you try to claim it for yourself, however, you want all the rights as if it was, that's not fair. It's like the song Stevie Wonder says, all is fair in love and war. All is fair in love and war. When you went into that situation and you knew that you was the mistress, listen, all is fair in love and war because you accepted the side contract. And sidebar, let me just say this. Marriage is a contract. It is a legal binding in heaven and in earth. So let me just say this. You don't really have a prayer if you're trying to come up against something that God has already sanctioned in heaven and the world has already claimed it to be legal. See, when you understand contracts, you understand the binding agreement. Anything that comes against that, you're illegal. So whatever consequences you get behind being illegal, that's fair game because you're illegal. You're the illegal party in the situation because you're the foreign party in it. Marriage is between two people. So you're the foreign party in it. So if you're trying to come up against something that's already been set up that legally it's binding, you don't have a chance. And if you do get it, can I tell you something? You will get every repercussion and residue that comes along with that. So I can only imagine, well, you do know how the story ends. The woman never did. She was never with the man at the end of the day. She never did have this the solidity, have that solid relationship with him that she wanted. Because why? Because it was never hers in the beginning. And I only say this, women, if you ever get anything like that, do not deceive yourself. You may have a long marriage or a long lasting situation with this person, but there will always be something in the back of your head that's going to mess with you. You know why? Because you're going to remember how you got it. And that's the thing, is how you got it. And that plays out with anything. And so, I was like, wow, that's a pretty interesting Valentine's Day. Thankfully, I've never had that kind of Valentine's Day, but I did have a really good story I wanted to share. This is called my a la carte story, okay? So, and I was dating my ex-husband. We were just dating, and he dated me very well. Let me just say, we dated really well. Um, Sidebar on that, when I started dating, I had already, I had been dating for some years, and I'd been single, and so we, at this age, you really understand the dating game, and you've pretty much seen it all. Okay, so when I got to him, I said, you know what, I'm not going to do this the same way anymore, because let's do something different. Let's make it a little different. So for the first, I think, 6 months, he didn't even know. Maybe it was 8 months. He never knew where I lived. When we went out, when we dated, I would meet him everywhere. And so if we went to the movies, I would meet him at the movies. I would meet him if we go out to dinner. I'd meet him at the restaurant. And so we meet at the mall. It just became that kind of a norm for us, and it was very exciting. It was very exciting. Um, and I'll tell you that he probably didn't know my last name for about maybe about 9 months. And just because I felt that that wasn't necessary. Sometimes when we're dating or when we meet people, we tell too much too soon. We just spill it all out. And women, honestly, we are very guilty of that. Men will sit back and let you tell the whole story. But women, we just got to get it all out in one date, in one 2 hour date. And it's unnecessary. What happens is you kill off the surprise. You kill off the intrigue, being intrigued about what are we going to talk about on the next date, or what else is there to know about you. And so if you tell them all everything in one visit, you may not get a second date. You just may not. And so in this particular date, we went, it was his birthday, and we went to, I called my mother. I said, Mom, if anybody knows my mom knows everything about dining. She knows anything and everything about fine dining. So I said, Mommy, I want to take, him out for dinner for his birthday, because, I want to be good to him. He was good to me. And so she said, well, why don't you take him to Morton's or Langerman's or the Charleston. I said, okay. I said, well, I'm gonna take. I said, I've been to Morton's, and I've been to Langerman, so let's go to the Charleston. So the Charleston is a very nice restaurant. It's a la carte. It is like top of the line a la carte. And so we go in, and we looking at the prices, and I'm like, honey, don't worry about it. I got it. So, I've already had this certain amount of money set aside in my bank account. Like, this is what we're going to spend for for dinner. So it was so funny because when they brought out the menus, I said, well, let's just do the 6 course. So he said, baby, I think we need to do 4 courses. I was like, no, we can do 6. He said, no, I'm good with 4. So I said, okay. I said, we'll do 4 courses. So, if you know anything about a la carte, now there's some a la carte that you have that the portions are pretty nice. So let me say this. A la carte is not meant for you to get full. It is meant to introduce your palate to a beautiful surprise. And so to just say, I want to introduce you to something. I don't want you to get full. I just want you to just experience me. Okay? That's how we should be in relationships, especially in the beginning. Let's just do an a la carte kind of situation. Let me just give you some good stuff, some good conversation, some nice experiences, so we can look forward to the next time. It's not meant for you to take everything in at one time. Not meant for you to get full. It's just meant to wet your whistle. Just surprise your palate. Okay. So we get the dinner, and so the first meal comes out is shrimp cocktail. So normally shrimp cocktail you get about maybe 4, maybe 5, 6 shrimp. So the shrimp come out. It's like 3 shrimp. He gets 3 shrimp. I get 3 shrimp. I'm like, okay. But they were big, but I'm like, okay, this is 3 shrimp. And he was a big guy. I'm like, okay. So then the meal comes out, and I ordered rockfish, and he ordered rockfish. And And so, normally if I make rockfish myself, rockfish is about maybe a good 8 to 10 inches. The rockfish was about this thick, about that wide. So you just gotta swallow. That's all. It was just, oh, that was good. I'm done. And so at the end, we got the bill. I look at the bill. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm scratching my head. I'm looking at the bill. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm sitting here thinking this bill is really high. Now I'd already set this amount aside. So I'm thinking, how am I going to put this money I got in the account, and then what other credit card am I going to pull together to pay this bill? So I'm looking at the bill, looking at the bill, and I'm like, okay, this bill is really high. So I said, to my maitre d', I said, can you tell me when I had this meal? He said, oh, dear God, I gave you the wrong bill. I said, oh, dear God, thank you. Thank you, Jesus. I mean, y'all, let me tell you, that bill, I was trying to be a big ball and a shot caller. My ex-husband said to me, he said, baby, I looked at you. He said, all your makeup left your face. I said, I know it did because I thought my lashes slide off my eyes. I was like, oh my God, I can't pay this bill. So, it was a great experience. And so I say that to say that some experiences in life, especially dating, I love dating. I love dating. I love being married, but I love dating. Sometimes you got to give the a la carte experience, give them the best of you because they're going to always see, they're going to get to the worst of you. Trust me, they are. But give them the part that maybe they've never been introduced to, the part that they've never met anywhere. My ex-husband had not experienced fine dining before on that level. And so that was something, it wasn't that I was trying to, grandstand, but I wanted him to experience something that he had never experienced before. And ladies, let me just say, sometimes you got to be something, I'm not telling you to be somebody different. You got to learn how to cultivate yourself so that when someone meets you, you've got something different that they've never met before. And that's the same way, men, we're looking for the same thing. We want to meet something that we've never met before. I'm not looking for you to be an 8 because if you've never been an 8 before, then that may be something new for you. No, we don't need that. We just need to know that we're not going to hear the same 2 lines that we always hear, that we're not going to go to the same thing we always go to. Okay, let's go to the movies. Okay, let's go. What about going to the museum? What about the walk in the park? What about, okay, let's just go and take a nice a walk through the botanicals. What about something that we can say that was a nice experience? What about going jogging together one day, or something that you know that you have not experienced before, but you would like to? Think of that one thing. I think my best date ever, my best Valentine's Day ever, I went go-kart racing. I was like, this is nice. I mean, it was fun. It was light. It was fun. We went go-kart racing. We left. We got some French fries. He went home and I went home. That was the best date I think I've had in a that was just the best date to me because it wasn't pretentious. It was unassuming, and it was just a nice, nice day. And so I'm hoping that you're having that kind of day to day. Listen, if you're not, I want to speak to those who don't have a Valentine Day, don't have a Valentine. You're not booed up. It's okay. It's one day. Don't you let one day get you in a bad place, because let me tell you something about that. If you are truly a person that loves or desires to be loved, you will find somebody to love. And it doesn't have to be somebody you have to be booed up with. Just learn to love, period. Someone said, well, you got to learn to love yourself. And that's true. You do. I believe that you have to learn how to date yourself. And I've heard someone say, oh, that's crazy. That's played out. That sounds crazy. No, it's not. Honestly, how could you ever want someone to take you somewhere nicely, somewhere nice, or somewhere that's, kind of upscale or something, do something different if you don't do those things for yourself? Let me tell you something. I will go to a restaurant. I will go sit in Ruth Chris or Morton's by myself in a minute and eat, take my magazine or my journal and have a great time, because that's what I like to do for myself. I'm not saying that a man that meets me has to do that. I'm just saying that I can't expect something from someone else that I haven't done for myself. And then sometimes you do get something that you haven't done for yourself, and that's great too. But I'm saying learn how to really enjoy yourself. There's so many people that I meet, so many, especially men. Men are notorious for going from one relationship to the next relationship to the next. Honestly, and we're in a day and age where women do the same thing. I personally don't believe that you should do that. I think that you should give yourself some breathing time, some breathing room, some time to woosah. remember, reflect. Okay, what did I do? What did I learn from this thing? Or what did I learn about myself? What did I learn to like about myself through that experience? What did I learn to not like about myself? What do I want to do differently the next time? And what do I want to do differently while I'm in this period where I'm not dating? So that I'm feeling like I'm my best self, my 100 person. I'm in my one space. When I get to this next situation, I'm not looking for it to be my everything because I'm bringing everything. I'm bringing my A game, and my A game is this is how I cultivate myself every day. And so one day, it just shouldn't be about one day. I'm sorry, it shouldn't be about one day. I love the fact that we take out the time to say, hey, I think you're special. But honestly, don't let that be the only day of the year that you do it. Just like Christmas, just like, you know, Mother's Day. Don't let that be the only time of the year that you say, hey, I love you. I love you. I mean, I think you're special. My mom, I could give her a card any time of the year just because, like I called her last week and I said, Mom, I just want to tell you, great, man. I think you're great. And I think she takes me for granted now because she knows that she's great to me and she knows that, she's gonna tell me something that's gonna be like, wow, that was like brilliant. Because I honor her. I give great homage to my mother, and I feel like it's important that I let her know. If she says something that I learned from, I say, Mom, you really got your thing together. You really, really got it. I mean, I think you are my it girl. And I do that with my friends. I have a best friend, and I say to her all the time, I say, you are the best friend a girl could ever ask for. I just thank God for you because sometimes she's a better friend to me than I am to her. And I never want a moment to go by and her not think that I'm taking her for granted. Like, I was messed up right there that day. But girl, thank you that you hung in there with me. Girl, I love you for that. That's love. That's Valentine's Day. That's love, love tones. And so I wanted to get comfortable being able to share that, all the time and being able to be 100 with each other and love all the time. And so if it's just about one day, then I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know if you got it. I don't know if you really getting this thing. And listen, you will wake up tomorrow and you will be alive. And Valentine's Day will come and go and you will be alive. It will be okay. Just like the holidays, it came and went, and now we're in something else. It's going to come and it's going to go. And so I hope that you're not sitting around thinking, oh my God, I have a Valentine. Trust me. Some people have them and don't want them. Trust me, they do. They have them and don't want them. And so that's kind of like my Valentine's Day thing. I hope that you are finding a reason to just enjoy yourself today. But listen, I want to go back to this a la carte thing because that was in my heart. I have been listening to some things I kind of record sometimes when a thought comes to my mind. A la carte living is great. It's great, great to really understand yourself in a la carte living. Sometimes we bring things to our palate that we shouldn't. And so when it's time to introduce something to our palate that we need that's going to help to open us up, there's no room to do it. A la carte is not meant to get you full. I said that earlier and I'm going to say it again. It is meant to introduce you to a wonderful surprise, to make you intrigued enough to come back again, to do whatever it takes to experience that again. And so tying that into dating, and because this is my last day talking about dating, y'all, and this is it. Unless you talk about it, I'm not talking about it because I think we have pretty much exhausted it. But just you have to learn how to be a la carte yourself. A la carte is that it's special. Everybody can't afford a la carte. Everybody can't even appreciate a la carte. Why? Because, especially if you are an overeater, if you're a person that you eat in bulk, a la carte is going to frustrate you. And, I remember when reflecting back to that when I took my ex-husband out for his birthday for dinner. The interesting thing is when we left, he said, "Baby, I'm still hungry." I was like, "Yeah, I know you are," because a la carte was not meant to get you full. It was meant to just give you an experience that you won't forget. And so sometimes we have to learn how to be an experience when we're dating that they can never forget. They may try to replace you, but they'll never forget you. They'll never forget you. And so as you are thinking about your life and you're thinking about, especially if you're not dating, especially if you are, you want a certain kind of relationship, I encourage you to look for that a la carte experience, not one that you can't get full of, one that you can get satisfied, not so satisfied that you become complacent, but that you become content where nothing else moves you, nothing else excites you, that you say, no, I'm good right here. I'm good right here. Right here. I'm good. I hope that you have that a la carte experience so much so that each time you experience that person in your life, that it's a surprise. It's a beautiful surprise to you. And that you do whatever it takes to get that kind of experience from that person all the time. That's one of the ugly things about being married, is that it's like, okay, it's the same pack of crackers. They're gonna do it this way. She's gonna do it this way. I'm gonna come home. It's gonna be like this every day. No, there should always be some a la carte experience in your dating, in your marriage. And I say that because I've been both. I've done both. I've been single, I've been married, and I'm single again. And I like both. I've learned how to be content with both. But I've also learned how to do the work to cultivate myself to get what I need. I promise you that when I date, I don't just date anything. I mean, I'm not saying that to be arrogant or to be puffed up. I'm saying it because I believe you date who you are. I really do. And we hear that a lot, but it's really true. And if you are dating someone that you think, or if you happen to meet someone that's above where you think you are, I don't really know what that means, but you know what I mean. It's probably because there's a level inside of you that you really haven't introduced yourself to, or that God was holding still until that person came along to offer that to you. And God does that too. He brings people in our lives that offer us something that, or wake up something in us that was asleep, or that we didn't know, that we had never met before. I mean, I've had experiences in my life where I've met people that introduced me to a part of myself that I didn't know was there, or that may have been sleeping. And so it's like, oh yeah, that seems like that's supposed to be like, oh yeah, that sounds about right. And so, yeah, get on the a la carte experience that. But before you do that, before you try to get that from somebody, figure out what it takes to cultivate that so that you can become an a la carte experience for someone else. Because honestly, I tell you, once you go a la carte, it's hard to sit down at Ruby Tuesdays. It's hard to just go and sit down at Cheesecake Factory. A la carte will kind of spoil you. It really will. And I know that firsthand, because every chance I get, I try to save my little money and put me a little something aside so I can have me a nice experience, because I know that it's not just about going to eat. It's about all the preparation to go do it. I put different clothes on when I go. I make up my makeup a little differently. I maybe do my hair a little differently. I put my do my nails a little differently. I go through a different kind of exercise, a different kind of warm up experience before I go out to have a la carte experience. And so that's kind of my it, y'all, today. I didn't, it's Valentine's Day, so I had to own it. But listen, know this. I want you to think of something that you want to talk about, because we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. I'm not finished with the church hurt. I'm not finished with that. We're going back to that, because I'm still meeting people who are hurt and they feel forgotten about. And so it's my heart that if you tune into this show, that you leave feeling empowered. You leave knowing that God is still thinking very lovely of you, and He's concerned about you. God is concerned about us. And so even in that, and that, because it's Valentine's Day, if no one told you, I'm telling you, like I told you last week, the Lord loves you. He thinks lovely of you. And if you just sit still quiet long enough, you will hear His love tones. You will hear Him tell you, oh, He thinks you're beautiful. And there have been times that I've heard God say, I just love the way you laugh. I heard God tell me that one day, and I was like, because I laugh very loud, and I was laughing, and God said, I just love the way you laugh. He said, it's so hearty. And I said, God, is that me or you? He's like, it's me. You know my voice. And so, just if you sit still long enough and quiet long enough, God will tell you what He thinks about you. I never forget one time I was going into prayer, and I was getting ready to talk to God about some things. And I used to start prayer off like, God, I messed up today, and I did this and I did that. And one day I went into prayer, and I heard the Lord say, do not tell me anything about your flaws. I have made you beautifully flawed, and I loved you in that state. Don't tell me anything about your flaws. Talk to me about you and me. And I just began to say, God, I just think you're great. I just think that everything about you, God, even when I don't agree with you, God, I think that you're still great. I think that you always have a perfect plan. That's relationship. Listen, and that's Valentine. That's relationship. That's love. Just being able to talk to the Lord and just say, Lord, I don't always like how you do things in my life, but I think you're great. I think you're a wonderful God. I think you're a wise God. You're a great God. You just do everything well. even when it's not what I would do, it still works out perfectly, God. And so, on this day, know that whatever you find yourself in, whatever state you're in, whether it's with someone or not, it's working out perfectly well. And so, happy Valentine's Day. I love you, but only God can love you better than anyone. And so I hope that you get in that quiet space where you can hear the love of the Lord sweetly say to you, I love you, daughter. I love you, son. Y'all, it's Color Beauty. I'm out of time. I want y'all to stay blessed till next week. Peace.